Hey, it's the Chief bonding with board games and RPGs, and right now I should be filming something from my Season 2 of Twilight 2000. Go check that out. I do need to film some more episodes. But Champions Complete came in the mail yesterday, and I started reading it this morning, and I thought, ooh, I've got an idea for a show. So first of all, this book, as you can imagine, is superheroes. It comes from the Hero System 6th edition, and what intrigued me, it's crunchy, but you can, any power you imagine, you can make a character that does it, is what it bills. Now, my son and I have played some superhero type stuff, but we use the Fate dice system, a little bit more open on the storytelling or, how that beam of light works. This is way more dialed in. But as I was reading, and I'll read one example of how they explain web slinging would work. Obviously, Spider-Man, although they can't say Spider-Man. They explain how that would work. By the way, if I sound congested, it's because I am. Got over a cold. So not only I show you a quick little segment on how they explain that, but that got my mind running, and I thought, and a quick way for me to kind of learn how these pieces will fit is if I can create something superpower-ish of which I'm already very familiar with. And my idea was World War II aircraft. So right off the bat in Champions Complete, they talk about some baseline core concepts. And I want to cover that here because that's what got me all mind excited. So page 6, game mechanics and special effects. So it says tips on how you would create a superhero. 1, decide what sort of ability you want to create by choosing the ability special effect. They list webbing. So again, they can't say Spider-Man, but think Spider-Man. He has webs. Then it's decide what game effect you want the ability to have. They will later talk about how, so webbing, he can shoot it out and it can hit somebody. And because it's webbing, it can kind of cocoon them. And they will later talk on page 42 using that if you go and look up the special power of entangle, it ends up fitting. But then they go into how you can tweak it a little bit more. So the third part is you're going to put 1, so webbing, and 2, entangle together. You're going to combine your ability idea with your knowledge of the rules, and then you're going to build the ability that you want. So of course they cover those webbing doesn't just shoot out as a ranged weapon that hits somebody, and then it tells you real quick, just as an example, how you can figure out what the range is, and that it's sticky and that it entangles. Got it. That's one of the powers. But you could also build a web wall. How strong is the web wall? Well, there's points that you could spend. So it can stop a chair if somebody threw it at you, if you made a web wall. But if you made a thick one, maybe you could stop a bullet. But you maybe could not, or maybe you could, stop a rocket. And it explains, just real quickly, with your knowledge of what webbing is from Spider-Man, how that would work. Then it says, but what if you're going to go web slinging? Well, they have a whole little breakout explaining that there's web ropes. So something you could be creating. They kind of have a rule under telekinesis, if I'm reading this right, that you could be grabbing these web ropes, which of course he's shooting, or you could even be hitting a target with them and using it as a rope to pull in. Again, the rules are there. You just have to have the concept, what can all this webbing do? How much is all that going to cost? And how is it going to be tweaked? So in this case, it's also sticky. What would that mean? It makes it a little stronger, maybe. They then give some other examples. They talk about what laser eyes do, and it's actually pretty straightforward, as you can imagine. But I'm not going to go into that because what that did was have me think, let me start with that real basic core concept. So, of course, they used webbing from our favorite Spider-Man. Again, they can't say that. That would be Marvel. But I thought, I want to understand the concept. What do I know a lot about? What do I love a lot? World War II, the B-17 4-engine bomber. Of Queen of the Skies. I thought, okay, if the B-17 was a superhero, what would it be? I said, well, first of all, clearly a woman, the Queen of the Skies. And then, of course, a bomber is a little bit bigger. So I'm thinking it's a little bit heavier woman who can fly, of course, and a little bit slower because she's got to have little friends helping her, which are all the fighter escorts, which I will get into, which immediately I thought, well, the Mustang, the P-47, also nicknamed the Jug, we'll come back to that, the P-38 Lightning, my favorite fighter, twin-boomed, fork-tailed, beautiful, turbo, all the firepower in the cannon and a cannon in the nose. We'll come back to that. And then I thought, well, you also have to have the Spitfire, which is kind of a British gentleman who has a little scarf and he's just got clean lines and he's just pleasant to be around. And I thought, well, there's my superhero team right there. So looking at the powers, I'm going to break down what that would look like. Now, if everybody enjoys this, I'll go in and actually build these characters. So first of all, clearly a larger woman, but B-17s were a little bit slower. So not like a zipping around like these fighters, like these little friends will be, but powerful, moving through the air, can go way up high. Not to mention, our Queen in the Skies has some friends. She has sisters, I mean. So it's a possibility in a really big fight, you could have a couple queens, maybe even 3 or 4 coming around, maybe more, who knows? But I have a little sidekick, has sisters. That's right. But, so first of all, what do we have? Flight. Yes, flight. Again, slower, lumbering, but with very strong, powerful reserves. So can fly for long distances, periods of time, B-17. B-17s were known for their defensive fire, but it's all short range, 50 caliber machine guns, 10, 11, 12, depending on the type of plane you're on. So I thought, okay, I've got to have a defensive killing weapons. That can be something that is shooting projectiles or something, but I thought for here, it seems like it would come from her inner core, 360 degrees, short range, but she could summon it and just boom and blast out the, short range. Anything close is going to take some serious damage. I liked it. She can't reach out really and touch anybody, not with those 50 caliber machine guns, but she's got a great defensive power. Now, of course, what the B-17 brought with it was the bomb load. So this is a blast weapon, an area blast weapon that, of course, my Queen of the Skies is going to have. And so I've got powerful blast damage, area effect. I would have to go look into this. And I thought, how would this manifest as well? So if the 360 degree short range defensive is kind of an inner power thing that comes out, so it's not machine gun bullets, it's going to be the short range power. I think her area effect damage would also be like a summoned energy that can then be directed, but in a very strong area blast. And it only happens once. B-17 had that one bomb load and then done. But it's extremely powerful, but it's not precise. Perfect. I'm thinking this is working great. And then what is a B-17 bomber known for? Absorbing damage, taking lots and lots of damage. So of course, absorb damage. B-17 had 4 main engines, and it was historic for having an engine taken out and just continuing. So what I thought here was there would be 4 types of absorption that could happen where no damage would be taken at all, but I'm going to have to build in a critical hit kind of possibility, because if you hit the B-17 in the right place, especially the stored blast damage, you could have a catastrophic destruction. So that's in there, which is cool. The game includes ways you can pop things up, shrink things down, cause critical effect damage like this. And then I thought, you know what? The B-17 had radio communication. So she would be able to telekinetically communicate with her little friends. That sounds terrible. The little friend. Little friends are what they call the fighters that assist it, but they can call and speak to them. So I thought there's got to be a short range communication that she could have telekinetically with these other friends that are with her. Perfect, especially for working together in concert. Love it. And then a B-17 was known for its endurance. It could just go and go and go and come back. So there's going to be an endurance component, which would factor in also with just how much damage our queen can take. So that is our queen of the skies. What about the little friends? So, of course, a Mustang is a P-51 Mustang. Ended up being dominant. If you've ever seen Tom Cruise, he has that plane. It's in the latest Top Gun movie. It's the World War II fighter. It's just, it was the premier fighter of World War II for the Allies. So I thought if this was a character, what would it be? And I thought, well, right off, it's a male model. This character is gorgeous. Male model. Sharp lines, nice angles, good looks. Just sitting on the runway, a Mustang looks good. And of course, this character is called Mustang. Now, he has offensive killing ability. Those are the guns. They had 3 350s that fired out. But I thought, how would that work? And you're supposed to manifest as that literally Mustang carries guns? And I thought, no. I thought, well, there's 3 on each wing. What if he can send power or weapons out of his fingers? Seems a little odd, but yeah, good. And he's just got the 3 fingers. Now, normally I could only shoot forward for a Mustang P-51, but of course, if it's this, he could be sending damage in multiple locations, but just 3 fingers, just 3. Also, well known for acrobatic flying. So when Mustang's in the air, he's got some flashy flying moves, very acrobatic. And there are acrobatic rules in here as well for your superhero. And then again, endurance. The P-51 was able to go with the B-17 all the way to target and all the way back. Same endurance. And then small blast damage. They could carry small little bombs, not like the B-17. And for this, I struggled because I'm like, is this going to be grenades that Mustang throws? I thought that doesn't fit. It's got to be kind of like the Queen. So again, summoned energy burst, way smaller than the B-17, and it's just specific to a target. So a P-51 might drop a 250-pound bomb onto an airfield or onto a train or something like that. Much more directed, but more powerful than the finger shooting, but a bursting shot that comes. Boom. Anything else? No, that's it for Mustang 3-finger shooter. Now we come to the P-47 Thunderbolt, nicknamed the Jug. So this character is called the Jug. Now the P-47 was huge, had a big old radial engine, which made it tough. And of course, that means our character is going to be stout, barrel-chested, big-jawed, a little bit ugly. The Jug was a little ugly, but powerful. And I'm like, this is coming together great. I love this. This is awesome. So the P-47 had 4 50s in the wings. So, of course, what's he do? He's got 4 fingers. Not just 3. He got 4. He can just shoot those 4 around, baby. That's how he's shooting them. And then he's got the same thing with the bursting. He could drop 2 50s, 250 pounds, the plane could. So he's got that same energy bursting that Mustang has. They have that in common. But he's got a cool little effect. P-47s were used for a lot of ground support, tank busting. They could do a lot of cool stuff. So I added in ground and pound. Now, I don't know what that means. I doubt it's in here, but I know what it looks like. He can land on the ground and commence to getting physical, baby. He can come right in and just ground and pound. Perfect. I also gave him a little bit more, on blast damage. It's not small. I have a note here. It's medium. He can carry a little bit more. So I bumped him up just a little bit for that in medium blast damage. Not anywhere near what the B-17, what the Queen's doing, but he's got that. And the Jug was known to be able to absorb a lot of damage. That radial engine can take hits, a lot of extra armor, and so he can take and absorb damage very similar to what the B-17 does or what the Queen does. So he can absorb. He's going to have that extra absorption. The P-38 Lightning. Gorgeous plane. beautiful plane. So this is like the counter, maybe the sister, I don't know, of the Mustang or of Mustang. This is a female model. This flying superhero is gorgeous. She's beautiful. Just stunning to look at. I mean, her beauty will freeze and stun people. That's how beautiful she is. I think Mustang's got to be her brother. I feel like this is a brother-sister combo. So she is the female version of Mustang. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. Again, offensive killing power, but this is interesting. The P-38, because it has twin engines, we'll come back to that in a little bit, all of its guns were in the nose, and they had a 20 millimeter cannon. So 4 50s and a 20 millimeter cannon. So instead of this finger thing, she puts her hands together, which means she's got to keep them together, but she can have that blast of 4 guns, not as many as 8, not as many as 6, but they got to be together, but then she can up it to an extra little bursting punch, that 20 millimeter cannon, that extra little, oh, I need a little oomph, boom. You don't have it all the time. It's a little more limited, but she can bump it up a little bit, hands together. So that is how the offensive killing power works with the bonus. She also has, the P-38 carried some heavier bombs, so dual engines, it could just carry a little more weight. I actually think the Mustang did fine too, but I've got medium blast damage. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong area. Oh, I have small blast damage. So let's just keep it at small. Can absorb damage. And what I did here was to match the Queen, because the P-38 has 2 engines, same thing. She can absorb and get rid of damage 1 time, I believe. So the B-17 has 4, maybe I'll give her 2 just to match 2 of those absorptions. Matching again the Queen. Love it. Seems to work. We'll see again. If you guys like this, I'll literally figure out. Some of these I haven't even cross-referenced in here, but it says start with your idea and then what it would be game terms, and then find what matches. Again, the endurance, the P-38 was used in both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters, but they loved it in the Pacific because of the 2 engines. You lost an engine due to mechanical, you're over the ocean, you could still usually get home. So a lot of endurance, and those engines had turbo props, turbo boosts on them. So she can have little speed bursts that she can jump in on. A lot of the attacks would be speed attacks down and then zooming up and out of range. So a speed thing is going to be key for her. And then I literally have on top of the speed burst, zoom or up, and away. So you can just pop up and away. Now I thought I was done. And then I thought, no, you can't be done. Spitfires, hello, Spitfires. So we have our male British, heavily accented, prim and proper with a scarf superhero. He's British, right? And he has that same offensive killing power, but it's a little more weak. The Spitfire had 3, it almost just had 2 on each wing, but 3 303, yes, 303 30 caliber machine guns. A little bit weaker than what the Americans had. So still the 3 fingers, but a little weaker. I bet you Mustang teases them about that. Again, with the small blast damage, but I went with acrobatic flying moves. Just again, kind of with that Mustang. But a refined gentleman with these wings, just beautiful to look at. And then, because of the Battle of Britain, the Spitfires, other planes as well, but Spitfire's got a lot of credit. He's got a little special thing. I'd have to figure out what it is, but it's called Save the Day. So I think because of the Battle of Britain, he's got a little something that he can throw into the mix that is save the day. So this is intriguing. I literally thought, I want to learn how these work. I get this concept of the webbing and Spider-Man, or the laser eyes and Cyclops. I thought that's cool, but let me internalize it. And I immediately thought, what can I do with the B-17 and with the little friends? And this came out almost instantly. And I literally have my superhero group. They're a flying group. Maybe, I don't know, is the Queen the mother? I don't know. Can't be though. Can't be. But we got the brothers, sisters. We got the British fella. We got the Jug, baby. He's a fighter. And you can see how that would work in, but this is a flying crew. I love it. If you like it as much as I do, let me know and I will film an episode. I'm probably going to do this on my own, but if you really like the idea, thumb this up. Thumb it up. That'll tell me, hey, this is a neat concept. And I will actually flesh these characters out more and make sure that I'm using the rules, and I'll show you how that character creation that I have in then gets fitted in properly with the rules. I think I'm on a real good area here, having read through most of the book, but there's little details and you can min-max stuff here. Very cool. If you enjoyed this, make sure you thumb it. That'll tell me to go back and make more content on this particular book with these particular flying heroes. Finger shooting, baby. Finger shooting. Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs. See you later.